Broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios, this is York's Local Sports Show. Talking local sports on York's local sports station. Welcome to Game Day with GameTimePA on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Welcome to Game Day of GameTimePA on Sports Radio 1350, a rainy, gloomy spring day. We're going to bring you all the sports high school coverage. None the less have Matt Albone here from our Hanover area, and have Chris Arnold here, our boys volleyball expert lately, now tennis expert after today up in the York area. Guys, how you doing?
I'm good. How's it going, Brandon?
Not too bad. We have a 40-minute show today, a little time shortened thanks to the AHL and NHL playoffs we got going on. Revs. The Revs. That's what I meant to say. Last week was the NHL playoffs. Today we got Revs action finally. Baseball season.
Yeah, that's right. It's here.
It is here. My bad on the area there. Matt, how's the Hanover area treating you?
Doing pretty well out there, and like we just said, no big Eagles trade right before we went on air today, so I'm a little more relaxed than usual. But yeah, everything's good amount of sports going on out there. We're a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. I'm ready for it.
That's good. Yeah, we had some big stuff yesterday. Huge lacrosse matchups. The two top boys teams played each other. The two top girl teams played each other. The girls one, that was the game everyone was looking forward to all year.
Yeah.
York Catholic Kennerdale. That was hyped up all year, and it lived up to the hype. Overtime game. York Catholic slays the Dragon, I guess you could say. They beat Kennerdale, first York Adams team to beat Kennerdale in the regular season since 2011. It's a pretty long streak for Kennerdale. They've just been dominating everyone, but this year's, I guess, York Catholic's year. We've been hyping them up, and they showed yesterday they could be the team to beat. The boys' side, Red Lion Central played as well. Red Lion took the crown, so no more ties in lacrosse. There's now two clear favorites, Red Lion boys, York Catholic girls. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. Battle of undefeateds in softball. Central beat Susky. Matt, you had those two at the top of your power rankings, or up near the top of your power rankings.
Yeah, they're the top two teams, and Central won, so I was a little bit validated in my choice. But those two teams are going to be the two teams probably battling it out along with Littlestown DeLone for the league title.
I saw Central live last week. They're a heck of a team. Their lineup, it's young, but it's fast. They can hit. They don't play with any pressure. They play really loose. I mean, they're cheering in between every hit. I mean, they got some kind of cheer or motto or something to do before. I mean, they want a foul ball, they do some kind of hand clap to it. It's crazy. They wouldn't want a foul ball if they want a double or something like that. But they're a good young team, and they got two or three solid pitchers as well. Which is softball, you only really need one, so two or three's even extra. Susky's having a good year, but Central won yesterday. We'll talk about that more later. We'll really touch on all the spring sports. We got some softball, lacrosse, track in the next segment. Baseball, volleyball follows that. Like we said, it's a shortened show, so we won't hang on to here too long. But right into game balls, guys. Christian, you're up first. Who you got for a game ball?
I'm going to go with Reese Devilbus from Northeastern Volleyball. Wasn't the greatest game, but 14 kills, still led the team last night in a very hard-fought match against the Red Lion Lions. 3 digs and an ace. He also was battling a bit of a hand and ankle injury that he suffered the previous week at the Kohler Classic, which forced him to skip a couple games last week and finally get back into action during the State College Invitational over the weekend. So he had still a pretty big impact in that game. Obviously a win for Northeastern in a tough contest against the number 2 Red Lion team. Also Kayla Held, who had a goal and 10 assists, and a very lopsided win for Susquehannock yesterday over York Suburban. So those would be my game balls.
Yeah, keep an eye on Susquehannock. Matt, you did a story on them a little bit ago that they're kind of that, not a second tier, but they're kind of, York Catholic beat them earlier, so they've been kind of a one peg behind Kennerdale and York Catholic.
Right.
But they haven't lost since then. So
that was only a 3-goal loss, I think, to York Catholic, so they're definitely a team to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Christian and I were at that game. That was Susky's first game of the year, their second game of the year at Susky, but it was a close game. But yeah, they're still right there. They have a chance. They still get a shot at Kennerdale too, so they could be right there in the conversation. Mac, swinging over to you. Who you got for a game ball this week?
Well, first off, from Littlestown Track and Field, Kristen Langrel. She tore ACL last year, missed the entire season. She's back this year, and at the Adams County Invitational last week, which was at Gettysburg on Friday, she finished second in the 100 and 200 meter dash. So big moment for her. She qualified for district, so she's finally getting back to full strength after missing a whole year of track. She's a junior too, so definitely has a bright future ahead of her. Zach Miller did a story on her last week, so a good moment for her. And secondly, Laura Silver from Southwestern Lacrosse. We talked about her a lot, but I saw her for the second time this year last night against Dallastown. Mustangs won 8-6. I'm not really a lacrosse expert, but she is so good. I mean, in an 8-6 win, she had 13 saves. In the first half, the Mustangs were down 3-1 at halftime. So they had no offense going early. She made 4 or 5 big saves and just kept them in the game. I mean, you honestly, with lacrosse, almost like every save's a bonus. Like if they can make it, great. But with her, you really expect her to make almost every save, which is really impressive.
Yeah, I remember doing a feature story on her before last season started. So in between her sophomore and junior year, and the league, a lot of coaches around the league were already calling her the best goalie in the league. And I mean, it seems like she's been there forever. And in your story yesterday, you mentioned before her, she's pretty much been there as a goalie for 4 years. Before her sister played for 4
Becca,
years.
yeah.
So Southwestern is really, 8 years straight of
8 years straight of silver. So Randy Cavanaugh, who's in his first year as head coach, but he's a longtime assistant. So he even said that like he's a little sad. Like they're a rebuilding team. He feels good about the future, but like he's not gonna have a silver in net for the first time in a while.
Right. And the team's kind of more rebuilding now. They were a lot better. I mean, they were winning every division title year after year in her first couple of years, and her sister when she was there. But yeah, she's had a couple of 20 save games this year. She's been great. I mean, her defense is young, so it's getting up a lot of shots in front of her. But she's played outstanding, and she's led the league all year in save percentage. Definitely one of the best. You had any other ones? That was yours?
Those two, yeah.
We'll go to athletes of the week. Actually, my game ball. I'm going Anna Linthicum and York Catholic girls lacrosse. I mean, you can't overstate how big that win was for them to kind of finally get over that hurdle. They've been that second team to Kennerdale for years now, and to finally be able to beat them in the regular season and say maybe now we're the number one team. And really, they've already beaten Susky and Kennedale, so they're in cruise. They should be in the driver's seat to win the regular season title, and then they'll have the number one seed come in the league playoffs. They clinched a playoff spot yesterday as well with that win, 9-8. Specifically, Anna Linthicum, she's been their leading scorer all year, very consistent attacker. She hit the game winner in overtime to get them their win and set up the celebration. So game ball goes to them. Congrats, York Catholic. Athletes of the week. On the boys' side, Hayden Wagner, Central York volleyball with the win. Wagner finished with a match-best 37 kills and 12 digs and a block in Tuesday's 5-set win at Dallastown, a very closely contested game. Dallastown was trying to get into that conversation as one of the best teams in the league. Central held them off. Big thanks to Hayden Wagner in that one. And then Sam Emig finished second, red line across. Emig scored 8 goals, added 4 assists as the Lions knocked off Conestoga Valley 19-4 Friday. And then he scored 6 goals and 3 assists against York Catholic in another red line win. 2 days later, Red Lions played 6 games in 8 days, and they're in a heck of a stretch. On the girls' side, Alyssa Adams, Red Line across, her first year in the area, came from Maryland, University of Cincinnati commit. She scored 9 goals and added 2 assists and a 23-4 win over Conestoga Valley. And then the next game, she scored 8 goals. So 17 goals in 2 games, a pretty solid performance for her. She's 4th in the league in goals so far this season. Second place was Gabriella Newman, Southwestern softball, double, triple, 4 hits, 3 runs, 3 RBIs. In the Mustangs 12-11 win over Red Lion in 11 innings on Monday, and then was the winning pitcher against New Oxford on Wednesday. So solid performances there. Again, those polls go up Friday and Saturday. Polls are open through Monday. If you want to nominate anybody, let us know. A lot of people were reminding us of how good Alyssa Adams was this week to make sure she got on the list. So if you want to do that, that's fine as well. If you want to vote, obviously we encourage that as well. Those are open on the weekend. Guys, anything else before we head to the next segment?
I think we covered it all.
All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some softball action with our softball expert, Matt Alabone. We'll talk some lacrosse stuff, and we'll mix in some track as well. We'll see you after the break.
Sure, the Revolution Baseball Club owns this radio station, but let me take a moment to reassure you. There's no gratuitous rooting for the hometown team.
And the Revs have won this game!
No hype.
This crowd going crazy!
We just give you unbiased calls
Unbelievable!
of every Revs game this season.
This game's over!
Nope.
Swing and a miss!
No homers here.
It is gone!
All right, maybe a little.
And let the party begin!
The Revolution plays here. The new Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. Waking up with the Zabe.
The Steve Zabin Show.
And we've got a breathe right strip controversy now heading into the Belmont. How come nobody in the annals of horse racing history thought to define whether or not you can wear a horsey breathe right strip? Isn't this the equivalent of a hood scoop on a car?
Your quarter panels are up 1/8 of an inch higher than mine. That allows for a little aerodynamic mass underneath the vehicle.
Join me, Steve Zabin, mornings at 6 on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
Looking for something cool to do this weekend? Come to the coolest place in town and learn to play hockey or figure skate at the York Ice Arena. The York Ice Arena offers a Learn to Skate program for skaters of all ages and abilities, directed by ISA and USFSA qualified instructors. Skating classes range from beginner to freestyle. Hockey classes cover the basics of the game. All classes include free skate rental and 5 free skating passes, so you can try out your new skills. And remember, the coolest place in town is also available for the coolest birthday party in town. Host your birthday bash in group spaces or with a private ice rental. Public skating at the York Ice Arena is available after afternoons, evenings, and weekends. Skate for just $7 and rent your skates for just $3. Plus, you can save with discount passbooks. Oh, and ask about gift cards and kids' prepaid debit cards. So if you're looking to learn something cool, come to the coolest place in town and learn to skate at the York Ice Arena. For more information and to register, go to yorkskate.com.
Money and business are essential to the strength of a community. So is cheering and celebration and music and fun. That's why York Revolution games, concerts, youth sports, special events, and more happen at a place called People's Bank Park. People's Bank has been serving York County for more than 150 years. Always cheering, always celebrating, always committed to the things that make York County great. And to you having a great time at People's Bank Park. People's Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is the Dan Patrick Show.
Mic check.
Dan Patrick.
He's Ben Roethlisberger. Heinz Ward told me that he would lie to stay on the field. So he said, "Look, it's our job to deceive to get back in there." Have you done it?
Yeah, I have. I think I did a lot more when I was younger. I think now with all the stuff coming out and all these players and the things that are happening, I think the awareness has been raised, the level has been raised. So I think it happens less frequently. But I think for the most part, players are taking it very serious when it's a pretty good bell ring.
Are you hit differently now than, say, first 2 years in the league?
In what ways? Like, are defenders hitting me different because of the rules?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think I've always taken, it's good and it's bad. I think that officials have allowed play to kind of play on a little bit. I don't think their whistle's quite as quick with me.
I love it.
The Dan Patrick Show.
On Sports Radio 1350 WOYK.
At Northwestern Mutual, we take a disciplined and balanced approach to financial planning. Together, we'll help build your financial future on time-tested principles, not market trends, so you can take advantage of life's opportunities. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on a square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Hey, sports fans, great news. Now you can listen to Sports Radio 1350 anywhere with the new WOYK mobile apps. Stranded in Siberia? No problem. Kidnapped by wolves? It's not as bad as you may think. Wherever you are, WOYK is with you on the brand new mobile apps. York's only local sports station just went mobile and global. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports. Your county, your teams. Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Welcome back to Game Day with GameTimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. We're in segment 2 now, moving right along in our 40-minute show today. Softball, lacrosse, track are the hot topics for this segment. We're going to jump right in with softball. Matt, you did a power rankings last week. Your top 2 teams were Central, Susky. Mm-hmm. They met Monday at Central, and the Panthers came away with a win. Central now 14-0. They've beaten Susky now. They've beaten Dallastown now. They've beaten everyone. Any big team we could throw in their path, they've knocked off. So,
right.
I mean, are they the clear-cut favorite in the league now?
I mean, For right now, yes, they are, and they beat Susquehanna by a couple runs too. So it wasn't like when they beat Dallastown. What was it, extra innings by 1 run? I think you're at that game. So to beat Susky by, what was it, the final score, 7-2 in that one? Yeah. To do that was definitely kind of a statement. And Susky had made a lot of statements this year, beating DeLone, beating Dover. They beat Dallastown too. Right. So to beat a team like that definitely makes them the favorite right now. But it's a top-heavy league this year, and I did that when I did my power rankings. Like, I think early in the year when I did my preseason one, I had DeLone number 1. Now it's a Division 4 team, but they're stacked. Mm-hmm. And I put them 4th this time, and it was like, did they really drop off, or is it just other teams proving that they're really good too? And that was kind of the case in that Susky and Central were right at the top. Littlestown, DeLone, who we'll talk about in a second, were right there. And then Dallastown, who you probably could have put even like 3rd. Like, they are probably just as good as Littlestown and DeLone, but they've had tight losses to Susky and Central, put them 5th. So, and they might be the odd team out. They probably will be if Central wins Division 1, which they probably will. But Dallastown's still really good too. So there's a couple really, really good teams at the top of each division who are going to make the league tournament really exciting this year.
Things shaping out the way you would have expected to? It seems like with a lot of these sports, there's a lot of teams that have just kind of come out of nowhere and really surprised a lot of people.
I don't even know how much of a surprise this is, but last year Dover won Division II, and Susky was right behind them. Both teams were pretty good, and this year Dover's still pretty good, but Susky's been awesome. Now I wasn't around last year, and they definitely had, both teams had a good amount of players coming back where you could have seen them both being competitive. So I didn't really Susky was going to be this good, but I would have thought they'd be the two best teams in Division II, and they are. Just that Susky's leaped them, but Central and Dallastown you would have thought were the two best teams. They are, and then Littlestown and DeLone you would have expected to dominate. They were really good last year, and they brought everybody back, and that's kind of been the case. They've been really good so far. Of course, we had on Monday a big matchup between Littlestown and DeLone. Littlestown won that one 5-3, so that's huge for Littlestown to kind of make their mark as the best team in the Hanover-Adams area, but to also give them confidence for the league playoffs if they could face DeLone there, or just to know they can beat another elite team, because they're beating up on the Biglervilles and York Suburbans of the world who in Division III aren't great. So it's good for them to kind of get tested against another good team, DeLone. And for DeLone, it's got to be disappointing, but at least it's a benchmark to know, all right, we're close to as good as Littlestown. What do we have to work on to kind of get better? Because they have big aspirations. They won District Class AA last year, so they want to do that again, but they want to win the league tournament. And right now, they know they probably have a little bit of work to do if they've lost to Susky and Littlestown.
Yeah, and you mentioned Dallastown losing to Central and Susky. A lot of teams are going to lose those two games, so nothing to hang your head about. Dallastown still has a great lineup with Magino leading off, and then Harbold pitching and hitting. She's a great player as well. Littlestown DeLone, they met 3 times last year, and the same kind of thing. They split the 2 regular seasons, and then DeLone won in the league playoffs, so they're on a collision course to do probably the same thing again this year down there in Division 3 and 4. Some other teams you've seen lately in Division 1, Southwestern and Spring Grove. What have you seen from those two?
Spring Grove's, they're pretty good. Julia Wivel's a good pitcher. We talked about this last week on the show. Haley Norton was such a great hitter for them last year, and they haven't really been able to replace her. Not that you can ever replace a player, but find enough offense to fill that void. So they're really the kind of the 3rd or 4th best team behind the Centrals and the Dallastown. They're not going to be able to catch those teams, but enough youth in that lineup that they can kind of build on for the future. Wivel's only a junior, so she'll be back next year. And Southwestern's kind of a rebuilding team too. They got Caitlin Chell, who's their catcher. I just saw her last week. She's probably one of the best catchers in the league. Really good power hitter too, and they're batting her lead off just because they don't have a ton of talent in the lineup to get her more at bats. But they've been doing better lately after a rough start. Kind of a scheduling thing. Played a bunch of tough teams in the beginning, but Chell's a really good player. They have a few good. Bailey Moses is a talented shortstop, so they've definitely got some talent. It's tough for them to compete against the teams already mentioned, Division I Central and Dallastown.
And you mentioned Haley Norton. She's a finalist for National Freshman of the Year at St. Francis this year, having a heck of a season there.
I guess that's okay, right?
The Red Flash. Yeah, she's among the top 25 finalists, I believe it is. She's having a great season there. We're always proud to see our former athletes go on to have big seasons in college. Brett Kinnaman, we'll talk during baseball. He's doing the same thing in NC State, having a big year as well. That's softball playoffs. I mean, if you look at it right now, it'd be Central, Susky, Littlestown, DeLone. That's an entertaining,
very good matchups.
There's some very entertaining matchups there, and I believe it's Division 3 versus Division 4 and Division 1 versus Division 2. Am I right?
Yeah.
So Central Susky will be a first round matchup, and Littlestown DeLone a first round matchup.
Right. That'd be.
And then they play each other
crazy.
in the title. That'd be a heck of a time. I'm sure softball fans will love that. Track, we had the ship invite. Matt, we're jumping right back to you again. Right. Sorry to keep bombarding you here, but some of the Hanover Adams area names we've heard plenty of. Rayvon Dillard, state champion from last year, had a big day. Lynn Meridian is basically the best track athlete of all time ever in the world lately. What happened with them this week?
Yeah, Ray Dillard won the triple jump as you'd kind of expect. He's just kind of cruising along this year. He probably has his eyes set on another state title. No one can really touch him. And Lynn Meridian, who we done stories on her. We talked about her last week. I think her coach said she's the best athlete best track athlete that they've seen in a long, long time. And she won the 300 hurdles with a 42.96. It's the best in Pennsylvania this year. And at a couple other big times in other events too. Didn't win anything else, but helped Southwestern finish 3rd in the whole event. So big day for her against an invite. There's a lot of teams, a lot of athletes there, and definitely showed her stuff.
And yesterday, more track, Dallastown, their 400 relay boys team, Justin Atwood, Justin Tracy, Kalen Patterson, and Edgar Santino broke the school 400 record, 42.58 seconds to run 400 meters as a team. It's a heck of a time. And I love their Twitter handles at DTown Speed or Speed Inc., something like that. It's pretty awesome. But congrats to those guys first as well. I meant to give them a game ball earlier and forgot to. So that's more track. I was at the Suburban relays, the Herb Schmidt relays. Those were pretty awesome Friday for track and field. They have a very unique co-ed hurdle relay. So it's like a Southwestern would have 2 girls at one end and 2 boys at the other end.
That's really interesting.
And they race 100-meter hurdles. The boys come back the other way, and they just keep crossing for 4 players. And it ends up being pretty cool. But Red Lions co-ed team won that, which is pretty cool to see. I mean, they said they don't even really practice for it. It's kind of a goofy event they do for this. It's a tradition.
I'd like to see that though. That seems.
I'm
really
a big
intriguing.
fan of the award they get after the tournament.
Yeah,
gold sneakers.
Yeah, they get gold sneakers. There's like a gold cup. There's all kinds. There's a table just of gold trophies that I took a picture of. I had it.
It's pretty awesome.
It's actually a trophy of a sneaker. You can physically wear it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, you don't actually wear the gold sneakers.
I mean, you could paint your sneakers gold and just walk around school the next day. I'd probably do that.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. It was cool. You never get to see the boys and girls teams kind of combined together, so it was pretty cool to see that. West York had a big day there. Luke Hoffman and Kyle Hoffman, the brothers. Luke Hoffman, the younger one, broke the school record for the discus throw that day, and then combined they broke everything that day is a relay, so everything's a team event. So even the discus throw, you get a partner with you, and you see how far combined you can add both your distances together. And the Hoffman brothers have wanted that title for years now, because since they both started playing the sport. And they got it by far. I mean, they shattered the old record. The old record has stood for 33 years at the event.
Wow.
Set by Redline, and West York shattered it with the Hoffman brothers, and they both had a big years last year. Great athletes. And you look at them, and you see a lot of the discus throwers. There's the big, offensive linemen, big defensive linemen. These guys look like 2 tennis players. And, these guys aren't too big.
That's crazy for a discus. Maybe for like a jav throw, if they're like tall and lanky, you see that, but not really in discus.
No, yeah. The one brother is tall and lanky, and the other brother is kind of more of a lineman type guy. But the lineman type guy, Kyle, he was like, hey, I'm more strength and speed. He's more finesse and technique. He was like, so I kind of teach him how to lift and get stronger, and he kind of teaches me the technique and where you put, where to footwork, where to release, stuff like that. But combined, they had a big day. They broke the record. Their AD was right there cheering them on. Their parents were right there cheering them on. The coaches were right there. They were very excited about it. And that was before the national anthem even happened. Like right off the bat, they got there, set the record.
That's a good way to start it off. Yeah.
So a big day for them. Lacrosse talk. Man, I almost forgot my favorite sport. Red Line yesterday took down Central for first place. We've been hyping that one up for a while. Those 2 teams. On the boys' side, it's been kind of like the SEC football. Everyone's kind of beats up on each other, and everyone ends up with 1, 2, 3 losses. So finally, it started to shake out a little bit. And Central and Red Line were ahead of the pack with just 1 loss each. They met yesterday. Central took an early lead, 3-2, and then Red Line went on a 7-1 run and started to pull away. Then Matt Hale had 16 saves in net for them. He's in his first year as a starter. He's having a big year, and he shut down Central's offense. But Red Lion looks like the top team right now in York County. They had a slip-up against Palmyra. They lost to Lampeter Strasburg, who's one of the best teams in the district. Besides that, they've been on fire so far. Then they get Susky again tomorrow. So tomorrow will be their 7th game in 10 days.
Wow.
The coach admitted afterwards, he's like, we're mentally, physically exhausted. I haven't let these kids practice basically all lately. Just come to the games, rest in between, eat, hydrate, and get ready for the next game. But that was a big one for them. They were more animated, more hyped up than I've seen them. They had a huge celebration afterward. They really wanted to win that one. And Coach Striffler afterwards, like, I'm not going to shy away from it. I want first place. I want the name. I want the banner. I want our name at the top of the list. He's like, Red Line hasn't been in first place in the league since 2010, 2011. I want this team to be able to enjoy that. There's no reason to hide away from that. Central is more, we play for districts, we play for championships. This doesn't really affect what we want to do this year. They're both going to make the league playoffs still. But
true.
If that was an early preview of the league title game, that's an awesome preview. It should be a great game.
That's a tough run too. I mean, Red Lions had a pretty tough schedule at this point in the year. I mean, we saw them early on, and they looked like a quality team. And you've seen a couple more times since then. But just from what I saw early on, they looked like they had the talent and the caliber to really be one of the top teams in the league. And so far, after a very tight couple weeks to start the season, it seems like like you said, the pack is finally thinning out a bit. The York Catholics, the Central Yorks, they're kind of falling into place, and Red Lions taking its place atop the league, where it seems like it's a very important aspect to them. Obviously, they want to get to districts and to win a league title, but I mean, even winning a division title, if you haven't won it in that long, has to be an extra motivator for a team like Red Lion.
Yeah, they really wanted that, and they clinched a spot in the playoffs yesterday. They didn't clinch a top seed yet, but they clinched at least a spot in the playoffs. York Catholic, Central, and Susky right now fill out the field as it falls right now. Dallas-Town can still sneak in if one of the other teams slip up. But that's how it's kind of shaking out right now. York Catholic, Central, or Susky with another win all clinched their own spots. But that would be the 14 field, and that's a heck of a I mean, you have Redline and Susky in the first, and York Catholic Central in the 2 semifinals. That's another heck of a tournament. That's why I kind of like the league tournaments that only have 4 teams, because you immediately have the best matchups right away.
Yeah.
So it's cool to see. And on the girls' side, York Catholic clinched a spot in the playoffs yesterday, and then there are 5 teams fighting for the last 3 spots. Right now would be Kennerdale, Susky, Redline, New Oxford, Southwestern are all mathematically still in it. So there's 5 teams fighting for 3 spots. Southwestern, New Oxford they need some help. Redline, Kennerdale, and Susky kind of in control for their own destiny. But that'd be a heck of a field. So York Catholic, Susky, Kennerdale, Redline.
Yeah, those 4 teams have seemingly kind of set themselves apart from the pack. Yeah,
we thought for a while New Oxford, Redline were pretty even, and then Redline beat New Oxford in overtime, and New Oxford has some other struggles recently. But those are both playoffs. Playoffs start in 2 weeks now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The end of next week is pretty much the end of the regular season. Each team has about 2 league games left to go. So we're coming down here to the final stretch.
Yeah, New Oxford just hit a hard stretch right at once. They played York Catholic, Redline, Susky, all in a row. That's tough. Things kind of bounce back from.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they had a good run early on, but I think that in the long run, that kind of streak where it hit them hard, it'll kind of get them a little more battle tested next season.
It will. It's good for them. But this season's going to be very positive for them no matter what.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, this is a great year. I mean, they had one of the best starts in the school's program history. If you're York Catholic, I mean, you're excited that you took this giant leap. Kennerdale, despite losing a couple of key players, has been tremendous all season. Did that story on Maddie Day last week, who stepped up in a big role for her sister who graduated last year. And Kennerdale still has the game against Susquehannock to make up from the rainout earlier in the season. So, I mean...
And Susky has Redline tomorrow. I'll be at that one. So Susky still has Kennerdale and Redline.
Right. I mean, Kennerdale, Susquehannock really got tough schedules at the end of the year, and it necessarily wasn't supposed to be that way, especially for Kennerdale, who kind of got stuck with that Susquehannock game having to be rescheduled for the end of the year because of bad weather. So, I mean, Kennerdale is still a good team, but this is a tough stretch to go into the playoffs with.
Yeah, it is. And Red Lion still has a tough stretch, too. So New Oxford, Southwestern, they're not out of it yet. I mean, they're only a half game or a game behind Red Lion, and Red Lion has a tough stretch. Kennerdale has a tough stretch. So they're not out of it. And you mentioned in Southwestern, we were talking about them earlier, Matt. I mean, for a rebuilding year, quote unquote rebuilding year, to still be in a playoff hunt among
they have a winning record. They're doing well.
It's great for them. And if Red Lion slips up a little bit, New Oxford or Southwestern can leapfrog them and jump in there. But we'll see what happens. A big one tomorrow, Susky at Red Lion. With a win, Susky clinches the playoff spot. With a loss, Red Lion falls into that logjam with New Oxford Southwestern. So we'll see what happens. Guys, anything else before we head to the break?
I think we covered it.
All right, when we come back, baseball, volleyball. I'm not sure how much time we got left, but it can't be too much. We'll see after the break.
So it's York Revolution baseball season.
And good! A walk-off home run! That's a double play! Unbelievable! And the Revs have won this game! Are you kidding me? This crowd going crazy! Can you believe it? Cue up the cannon! This baby's over!
Yep, it's kind of exciting. The Revs play here. Sports Radio 1350, WOYK.
Security in life isn't something you just wish for. You build it with a strong financial plan. Start with Northwestern Mutual. Together, we'll design a disciplined and balanced approach to financial security, because reaching your goals is something we both want to work toward. To learn more, contact me, Dan McGarry, at my office on the square in York. Look for the blue awnings. Who's helping you build your financial future? The Northwestern Mutual Life Insurance Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Previously on the York Revolution pregame show.
Everett George is our interview guest. Everett was signed up. Was it the whole homestand?
Yeah, the whole homestand.
And which was how many games?
7 games.
And you lasted in your role how many games?
1 game.
Have you been fired anywhere before?
Never. Post-game meal came down, and it was pulled pork and beans. I said, well, where's the buns? Where's the soda? Where's the water? And the coleslaw didn't come down till after everything was out. But I know what I can do. I can make a meal better with pulled pork, with beans. That's the reason I got fired, because I asked too many questions, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Well, they did me a favor. I don't have to. I can have 6 days off.
Revs Baseball on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. The puck drops here.
Wellman, the shot, score!
Sports Radio 1350, your home for Hershey Bears hockey.
Casey Wellman has won it in overtime for Hershey.
And the Washington Capitals.
Hearing a shot, they score!
Defending the Den and rocking the red all season. Catch the Bears and the Caps on Sports Radio 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
Now we're having a party, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is good old-fashioned fun.
And it's right here on WOYK.
Oh, man, is this stupid.
Welcome back, Game Day of GameTimePA here on Sports Radio 1350. We're in our last segment. We've got about 9 minutes left. We're going to squeeze some volleyball and baseball talk in here. Perfect time to bring back Christian. Christian, you saw Northeastern Red Lion volleyball last night. We live streamed it. This is a big one we were looking forward to. Red Lion has been even better than we expected. We thought they'd be pretty good. They've been even better than expected. They've been trying to get into that conversation that, hey, we're among the best teams too. And a chance to make a statement last night against against Northeastern. How they look to you?
Oh, I think they absolutely made a statement. Now, obviously, they were swept by Northeastern, but as I said to you guys before we jumped on air, that sweep is almost a little bit misleading considering how tough that game was. I mean, you look at the scores; it was close every game. It was back and forth every game. There was for me, minus the tournament games, it was the toughest competition I've seen Northeastern have to play in the regular season against a league opponent, because Redline was right there with them. I mean, they did not give them an inch. The crowd was into it. It certainly had lived up to the hype, and it could have gone either way. And I think it was telling that Matt Wilson, the head coach for the Northeastern Bobcats, said after the game that Redline probably deserved to win a couple of those games, which was an extremely telling thing. Maybe Redline caught Northeastern at the right time where maybe they're a bit tired. Obviously, Devil Biss has been banged up a little bit, as we mentioned at the top of the show. He sat out last week a couple games after injuring his hand and ankle during the Kohler Classic the weekend prior, and didn't get back into action until last Saturday. So the Red Lion might have caught Northeastern at the right time, but at the same time, I mean, you look at the roster that the Red Lions have. I mean, they are certainly a team to be reckoned with in the league, and I think they've really opened, at least for me and anyone who was at the game, I think they opened a lot of eyes just to how good they are when it comes to league tournament time, or even when it get to district or states. I would not be surprised to see them there competing with the best of them.
So, I mean, we asked Matt the same question earlier. Has the boys volleyball kind of shaken out the way you expected? Northeastern Central and the 1-2 spot, and then there's kind of a logjam behind them with Suburban, Red Lion, Downtown, Susky all fighting for those last two spots.
I think it has. Obviously, Northeastern. I wasn't here last year, but obviously Northeastern's reputation kind of precedes themselves. They are the perennial favorite around here, and with every right to be, because you watch them play volleyball, even just watch them in warm-ups. They do everything you could ask for to the letter of the law, and they are a very talented, strong team. Suburban, I think they were expected to take a couple steps, and they really came out firing on all cylinders. They came away with that big win against Central. When you look at Central, I think they've had a pretty good year. There's no doubt about it. But I think compared to what maybe this was just my own preconceived notion of what Central was going to be, maybe they are not at the same level they were last year. I think that you look at how the team is shaken out in some of the games they've played, and even just that loss to York Suburban. Not to take anything from York Suburban, but Central, looking at the two rosters, that maybe should have been a game they won. There's no doubt about it. Central still has had a great year, but you look at the way the Panthers have played, I think that there's still a lot of growing, and maybe it's a bit of a rebuilding year, but you kind of put air quotes on that considering just how good that program is year in and year out. And overall, everything's kind of shaken out. I think Redline hasn't gotten the credit it's deserved, and you talked to Matt Wilson last night, and he's kind of said the same thing, that he's been a guy who's kind of been cheerleading the fact that Redline is the team that's going to be right up there with them. They were expecting them to be there at the beginning of the year, and everything's kind of shaken out for Matt Wilson, for Reese Devilbiss, the way they thought it would, that Redline would be right there chasing them for that top spot.
And the good thing about York Adams volleyball is the top 6 teams make the playoffs, the league playoffs. So you'll see Northeastern, Central, Suburban, Red Lion, and then Dallastown, Susky won't get left out, or whoever's at the end of that logjam won't get left out. They'll still be there. So a lot of top competition. The good thing that helps Northeastern is they're a AA school, and they get to play some of these top AAA schools and get them ready for the playoffs. Central, Redline, Dallastown, these are all top-tier AAA schools that Northeastern gets to work against all year. So they'll be ready to play when they play these AA schools in the playoffs. Switching over to baseball, we mentioned Dallastown's Riley Hamburg. We mentioned him pretty much every week. He shut down Northeastern in a big win in a battle between Division I, Division II leaders. Earlier this week, Southwestern, Spring Grove, both in the hunt for that D1 title. Have you seen anything from them, Matt?
Well, Southwestern's kind of a surprise team, and they've got another big matchup against another big Division I, Division II matchup today is Southwestern Northeastern that I'm going to be at. So, Miles Francis for Southwestern's a really good player, but they thought this might be kind of a rebuilding year. I don't think they really thought they'd be competing with Spring Grove and Dallastown, who were expected to be at the top. And now with Spring Grove kind of in a little bit of a slide, they've kind of stepped into that. Spring Grove, of course, had some injury concerns, but they're still trying to fight back and get healthy, and hopefully by the time the league playoffs and districts roll around, they'll be healthy and ready to go.
Yeah, we mentioned how a few weeks ago we talked about how that division was all sailing high. They were all above 500, and now the bottom of that division's kind of fallen off, and Southwestern and Dallastown have kind of emerged toward the top of it, really. And Southwestern Francis is a fun story. He's a heck of a defensive back, all-star football type player.
Yeah.
Didn't play most of last year football because he wanted to focus on baseball. Came back mid-season, said he missed football too much, so still played a little bit of football. But a heck of an athlete overall.
And he's getting the senior year in baseball that he wanted because they're having a really good year.
They're having a solid year, so it's cool to see that. Spring Grove, like you said, is kind of sliding. They're 6-7 overall, 6-3 in the division still, so they're still in the division hunt right there. Division II Northeastern, who you're going to see today with Cody Reeser, Adam Kipp. They're in first place, holding off Susky. After that's a pretty big drop-off. West York's rebuilding. Dover and Kennedale struggling as well. Division III is really the most intriguing one come playoff time because you've got Littlestown, Gettysburg from your area, Eastern and Suburban up here, all 6-3 in the division right now. So 4 out of the 5 teams somehow tie for first place. Somebody's got to win.
Eastern York's got that great pitching, so they might be the team push come to shove that no one wants to face with one game on the line. But with all those teams hanging around, you really don't know. Gettysburg off to a really bad. They were 0-4 to start the year. They've come on strong.
They've won 7 in a row. Then.
Yeah,
they're 7-4 right now.
So they're definitely a team to be reckoned with too. There's a lot of intrigue in that division, and then Division IV, of course, it's kind of been Biglerville who's been controlling it the whole way, but they've got York Catholic and DeLone to deal with.
And both teams nipping right at their heels. Biglerville 7-3 right now. We have them in the division. York Catholic, DeLone both 6-3 only in game. Half game back. So Division III and Division IV races are heating up. Keep an eye on those for sure. Northeastern leading, Dallastown leading as well. We mentioned DeLone, York Catholic chasing Biglerville. I mean, it's basically, this one's kind of shaking out. It's kind of like we thought, too. Mostly with Dallastown. We thought they'd be at the top of the league. We knew Northeastern would be pretty solid. We knew Eastern was going to be solid. Biglerville, a little bit of a surprise. Southwestern, a surprise. I think the early struggles of DeLone, we thought they'd be a little better than they were. Definitely, York Catholic at 500. I think we thought they'd be a little bit better as well. Fairfield's been above 500, so even a surprise from those guys. So softball kind of shook out how we thought we would. Baseball's kind of been the complete opposite. We had a couple teams we thought would be pretty solid, but overall some surprises. Guys, anything else from baseball?
I think we've covered it. Like I said, I'll be at Southwestern Northeastern, so follow me on Twitter if you want to get updates from that game. And anything from you guys?
For track today, keep an eye on track. We have on the girls' side, big girls matchups today. Southwestern undefeated. They play Spring Grove in girls track and field down at Southwestern.
That'll be a good one.
Eastern Suburban, both undefeated right now in their division. Winner has control over their division championship. They're at Eastern today, I believe. So check back Game Time tonight for the results of that. How much time we got left here? About a minute to go. Guys, anything else you've seen this year that you want to talk about?
One thing we didn't mention in lacrosse real quick is Anna Linthicum. Obviously, she gets the game winner, but mostly, from what I understand, she was the defenseman who kind of made that transition up the field this year, and she seemed to really kill it this year for the York Catholic Fighting Irish.
Yeah, they had a little surplus of defense with Pakrifa and Palandra back there, so they kind of sacrificed and moved her up. Susky did the same thing with Marshner. They said, we have enough defense, we need some scoring, you guys move up, because they're such a talented group. And Linthicum has been great on offense. She scored a lot. Kirsten Lake is a big story. She made a save in the final seconds there last night to even send that game to overtime, and her first full season as a starter. Guys, that's going to do it for us. When we come back next week, same time next week, guys, thank you guys for showing up. Christian, Matt, thanks for coming out. Yep. A lot of action this week. Stay tuned to GameTimePA. We'll see you next week.
First in York, first in sports. Your only local sports station. The new Sports Radio 1350. WOYK, York, Pennsylvania.